Welcome to the third season of the Stronger Than Autoimmune podcast. Shout out to all the supporters out there. If you're new to the podcast, here's what it's about. As an autoimmune warrior myself, I understand living with autoimmunity isn't easy. You're not alone. This podcast is made to give hope to living with chronic illness. I will interview individuals living with autoimmune disease along with businesses and experts to provide knowledge and hope. As a health coach, I understand there is no cure for autoimmune disease, but creating lifestyle changes can influence how we feel. So, if you haven't already, support the podcast. There are 3 ways. 1, share it. 2, review through Apple. 3, rate it through Spotify. So join me on being stronger than autoimmune. And enough of this intro. Let's get to the interview. All right. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Michelle Mills. She is the founder of Nature's Willow, a pain relief cream product made with white willow bark and essential oils. She originally created the brand to ease her mother's fibromyalgia pain. I brought her on the show to talk about how she started experimenting with the pain cream. So thank you so much, Michelle Mills, for joining me on the Stronger Than Autoimmune podcast.
Thank you for having me. I've been looking really forward to meeting you and talking with you and your following.
Yeah, and I did, before you did the rebranding, I did use the Nature's Willow, and I love it. I actually gave it to my grandmothers so they can try it, and my mom, and they do like
Good.
it. So,
Most people actually use Nature's Willow for the first time by someone giving it to them. So about 75% of people, that's how they find out about it. So I appreciate that.
yeah, it's amazing how, I mean, they always say word of mouth is the best way to get any product on the market or recognized or practically anything. I mean, people are going to talk
Right.
about what they really like and share, especially women.
Yes, absolutely. If you find something that works, you tell people, you share it, and that's really how we've built our brand.
Yeah. So please let us know where you're connecting from.
I live just outside of Nashville, born and raised here, and that is where I'm coming from today. Both of my parents were born in Nashville. I've lived here all of my life, and this is where Nature's Willow was, I like to say, born and raised. I created it here, and for the first 10 years, we were distributed from Tennessee. So it's been a lot of fun kind of watching it grow into a bigger brand, but we're still pretty small. But now we have an office in Ohio as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you have grown. And I didn't realize you've been in business that long.
Yeah, I started doing this as a hobby, and 2008, I really started kind of playing with it, but didn't even think much of it until 2009. That's when I really started to work more on creating something for my mom that could work for her to help with fibromyalgia. She had gotten in pretty bad health by that time and retired during that year. I had gone through a divorce and moved back home. So I brought my young child with me, and it was just kind of a hard time for all of us, really. But in 2009, we started experimenting with something that would help her because I think she was a cosmetologist for her whole career. She did hair and nails. And so during that time, people would smoke. That was back in the day, they would smoke in her
Mm.
chair. There were all kinds of toxic chemicals that really people didn't know until pretty recently that those things could be damaging. And I think that environment really damaged her immune system. And I feel kind of helped to bring out that the fibromyalgia pain and the issues that she started having. Um, so she just developed all of the sensitivities and pain that go along with that. And she had some bad reactions to prescription medication, couldn't take that. I think those are now off the market. And it was kind of looked at as a rheumatoid condition back
Mm.
then at that time. So it was kind of arthritis drugs are what you treated it with. She had a bad reaction to that, ended up in the hospital. And once she got out, she started using other topical creams, and she would have reactions to like the dye in a blue pain relief cream or whatever it was. So when we first started working on it, that was the basis. It had to be dye free, um, had to be fragrance free. She couldn't even now she can't really use bleach cleaners or anything with a smell in there. Um, and you know, we wanted something natural. We wanted something plant based because at that time that was just the beginning in 2009, 2010, really kind of the beginning of that plant based movement of people started to realize what you put on your skin actually matters, and people started leaning more toward a plant based lifestyle. It was still very new, so that is how kind of the whole thing started. We worked on it for about a year and just off and on. I was working actually as an HR director for Hilton Hotels. So I had a full time job, was raising a daughter, and it was kind of a weekend project. But then after that, when we finally hit on after 21 tries, and I mean, that was like weeks at a time. Or even a month it would take to actually come up with a batch and figure out, is this going to work or not, or is it too much essential oil? Is it not enough white willow bark? But that's why we went with white willow bark, because no one had done that. And I love nature. And I think, that using the bark of the tree had never been done. So I really wanted something original. But then for me doing it at home, practicing, that took a lot of, I want to say, blending and things that I didn't have a lot of experience with. So I didn't know how much lavender it was going to take or menthol was going to take to dissolve that bark of that tree. So a lot of the fail was just in the formulation. But once we hit on it, we knew we had something good.
Wow.
And people loved it.
Well, congratulations. It sounds like quite a journey as far as you must love your mother quite a bit. I mean, obviously, to go through such dedication to figure out what worked for her. So I'm guessing she was your test subject.
Yes, absolutely. She was. And at the time, she was going to a lot of fibromyalgia support and, classes and the groups and things like that. So that's really where the product got its start, because we would put the cream in a little, almost like a little lip gloss container, and she would give it to her friend, the people that she had met there, because everyone had pain. And that is truly the very beginning of how the product gained a little bit of traction, because people started to call me and go, well, can I buy it from you? Because I never dreamed of that. I never dreamed of starting a brand. That was not my intention. It was purely a hobby. And then once I had 5 or 6 people call me and tell me how much it had helped them and how they had tried other things and that this really worked, I thought, well, I could actually really be onto something, and started to pursue it. And ultimately got a patent on the formula, which is really kind of what's led us down the path of creating other products to go along with the original Willow Balm cream. Now we have it in a patch and a bath soak and other things, but for a decade, it was only one product. It was just the pain relieving cream.
Wow. Well, that's a huge step, getting something patent. I know there's a long process in getting something like that done. So
yes,
congratulations.
It took a long time. Thank you. Thank you. I was shocked at myself because I didn't have any idea what all went into that. Actually had some family friends that are attorneys that helped me with the process. I couldn't have a patent attorney. This was, again, kind of a dream at that point that, wow, if it really is that unique, then I was getting the advice from them, you need to patent that. And now I'm glad I did. But at the time I thought, it's kind of a waste of time. I just want to give it to people. I kind of, I really had a nonprofit feel to it because I just really wanted to give it to people. I wanted feedback, and that's how I learned. And I learn every day from our customers.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we were mentioning, the customer base really will tell you what they want if you listen to them.
Yes,
and they
absolutely
will rave about it if they like it. If they don't like it, you will know also. So
right.
So tell me how you stumbled upon, I mean, you're mentioning lavender and the different ingredients that you have in your patent and your product. What did you how did you stumble upon White Willow? I mean, I've never heard of it. White Willow bark.
Well, again, at the time, that was a very new ingredient, and skincare companies had some of them, Neutrogena and a few of them had done things with the white willow oil.
Mm.
But I was always kind of a fan of aromatherapy early on. I loved essential oils, and working in my mom's beauty shop, uh, there was a lot of kind of lotions and potions and things we would do unrelated to that. Like I said, I mentioned lip gloss. I would make a lip gloss or a lotion just for fun. I mean, I was a teenager at the time. Um, but white willow bark, when I started researching it, I found that they had to start with the bark to make an oil in order
Mm.
to, to get to these products. So when I started researching it, I found that that really goes back over 4,000 years. I mean, that's ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Native Americans, particularly, used, they would get the bark from the tree and use that to make a tea or to even chew on to help relieve fever. So it was really the ancient anti inflammatory. And I thought that was so cool. I had no idea if it would work. So keep in mind, all this was an experiment, but it did. It's really kind of the forerunner to aspirin. Ultimately, it did get synthesized and made into aspirin, but there are still people, of course, all of our fans that enjoy using it kind of as it was originally created in nature.
Mm. And where do you source your white willow bark, or how is it? I know it's an oil, but is there certain people that manufacture it for you?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So, although we're a small company, a natural company, we also, adhere to the FDA standards, and we have FDA approved manufacturing. So they source that for us, but it's indigenous to Europe and some parts of Africa, Asia. Now there are places in the West that grow, and West Coast that grow it now, but our standards are just get the cleanest, most pure source that you can.
Mm.
Started, it was pretty big pieces of the bark that I would have to grind and things like that. They're able to do that, of course, in a larger quantity and with even more pure standards than obviously in my kitchen. So yeah, they do all of that for us, and we're able to do the third party testing on the product after, during and after manufacturing to be sure it meets our standards.
And I know you have lavender. You talked about lavender. Can you talk about the other oils that included in your pain cream?
Sure. The hero oil of our pain cream is called helichrysum. It's the
Mm.
oil of the sunflower. So that combination of the helichrysum and white willow bark is really what our patent is based on for all of our products. Now, that is the carrier oil for everything else in the cream. The helichrysum is the key and is very important. We don't talk about it a lot. We don't mention that as much as white willow bark. A lot of people are like, well, I can't even say that word. I mean, I can't either, really, but it's interesting if you research it and find all the healing properties that the helichrysum has. Um, so that's an interesting one, and that was a big find. Initially, things like emu and things that aren't plant based, that's actually the carrier for other things. It's not really a pain reliever. So we wanted to be sure to have a good carrier oil so that all of the white willow bark and the other anti inflammatories could penetrate well. But we also, lavender, of course, is a favorite. A lot of people love that to help them sleep and relax. Geranium is one that is not used as often, but we love that because, again, it's a natural anti-inflammatory, and that's what we've based everything on: is what can we combine, what can we use that's the most natural, closest to nature, um, I love to garden. I don't do it nearly as much as I would like, but, kind of using the oils from the flowers that people have used for centuries to heal themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And how many different combinations I know you kind of talked about it before, that it would take a month for the batch to settle. So does it still
Yes.
take that long? I mean, for
No,
these.
no, we have
Okay.
it perfected now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went through 21 different formulations before we actually settled on the one that you've used now, and that people have used for over a decade and love and share, which I'm thankful for that. But we had an extra strength willow balm. We had at one time, very early on, we had a vegan, which kind of became what we have now. And then we had another formulation that wasn't totally plant based, which fell off really quickly. We used some of the popular ingredients like capsaicin. We experimented with that. But people with fibromyalgia, immediately, it took one formulation of that, one batch, handed it out to the ladies, and they were like, no, this, even though it was very low concentration, it was
Yeah.
too hot. That was too hot. Too much menthol was too cold. So it was more of kind of a Goldilocks, like find that right balance that can help people manage their pain naturally, but also be powerful enough to last longer than many other things, so that you can apply 2 or 3 times a day, but you're not having to keep putting it on all the time. So I tell people, wait for it, because a lot of times there are a lot of good pain relief products out there. And if it has a really high menthol content, you can put that on and you'll feel it immediately. It goes away quickly because
Hmm.
it's kind of a mask. But with our things, it'll take 5 or 10 minutes sometimes to start to feel the relief. Sometimes it takes more than a day. It kind of has to build up a little bit. You have to figure out how much you need, which is another kind of a shock for me, because when we first went into the market, it was only in rural retail. So farm and ranch, co-ops, Tractor Supply was our first national retailer, and they're still a great partner for us. Because people in those areas were using horse liniment on their bodies. They shopped at
They're
the
using what?
co-ops. Horse liniment that
What
you
what
would
is
use
that?
on a horse. That is like an absorbing or something like that they would use on their horse and cattle and things. That is what they were using
Mm.
in the country. And so my initial thought was, we're just going to be in rural retail. I want people in rural America to have access to a product that is affordable and healthy.
Yeah.
So we actually took market share from an animal product in those stores, because when I pitched it to Tractor Supply in 2010, they said, well, we don't have anything, any pain relief, anything for humans in our store. And um, every store like that, the D&Bs and the Cow Ranches and the Murdoch and all of those stores that serve people in Montana and, just all through the West, and of course, Tractor Supply nationwide. Um, that's where a lot of people do their shopping.
Yeah.
And so we gained attraction by kind of being what I call the homeschool valedictorian. We didn't have any competition on the shelf, but people were looking for something better. And when we were able to get on the shelf and do a test market in 2012, we sold through immediately. And of course, I had no idea where the stores were. It was all a big secret, but it was kind of proof of concept. And by then, we were already in a lot of other co ops and massage therapy and, that type of thing. So the rural retail was our focus. But now with the massage therapist, we've got a whole different fan base, because people come in for chronic pain massage and things like that. And they love our product, and they'll get their massage with it, and then they buy some on the way out the door to kind of help them in between their next service.
Oh, congratulations on all of your success. I mean, I wouldn't have ever thought. I mean,
Thank you.
so how did you even, I mean, are you in an area yourself where you have a lot of ranchers, and I mean, or
I
how did
grew
you
up in the
even?
country. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I say I grew up in the country. I spent a lot of time with my relatives in the country, because I have, he's passed on now, but my great uncle and my mom's whole side of the family were tobacco farmers in
Okay.
Robertson County, Tennessee, which at that time was like the tobacco capital of the South. And so I would spend summers there, and would go with my great aunt. We'd shop at the Tennessee Farmers Co-op or whatever was there because it was the middle of nowhere. So it's not
Mm.
even, and at that time, you didn't just run over to a store, you shopped in your local community.
Yeah.
And so that's really what gave me that desire to kind of go back to that feeling and remember the people that shop there and what a limited selection that they had. And even then, that was really before online retail had begun and Amazon was becoming a thing, but it was still pretty much a brick and mortar world when I was doing the test marketing for the product and just taking it to stores and going, hey, try it out, set it out. If you like it, if your customers like it, you can call me to order. If not, thank you. I'd like the feedback. And that's how we went about it. So
Yeah.
but yes, in Tennessee, and I still have a lot of family in rural counties here. That played a lot into it.
Yeah. I mean, what insight, because of your background, and you're giving back to that community. It sounds like it's a heartfelt thing that you're doing that. And then also, I know that you do work with Diversity of Hope. Could you talk a little bit more of that with how you got involved in that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, the Dispensary of Hope is a
Dispensary of Hope,
charitable.
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It is a charitable medication access pharmacy. So they collect, well, companies like us donate to the Dispensary of Hope, which has a warehouse in Nashville. And then they partner with pharmacies all over the nation to serve uninsured or underserved or lower income populations so that people are able to buy um, our product, and as well as their prescription drug companies that do that to help with diabetes drugs and things like that for the underinsured or uninsured. They're able to buy it at a more affordable cost, maybe pennies on the dollar. It's something that we love to do. And a lot of those are in rural areas as well. There are some in metropolitan areas, but we've just noticed that there are a lot more programs in, say, New York City or LA or, the Bay Area or even Nashville than in the country. And so we have enjoyed focusing on that and plan to keep doing that as well.
That's wonderful. Always giving back to the community and seeing what is really needed. And it's things that people don't think about. People don't have access. Not everybody has access to the same things, whether in, a busy part of town or in a, rural area. I mean, everybody has different, depending on what their radius is around their,
Right.
I guess, norm. I think people usually have maybe 5-10 mile radius where they usually go to grocery store, where they, what's closest to them. And maybe it's probably actually different, in rural area, they have to travel a little further, which makes it harder because when they go out, they need to get everything, right?
Everything. Yes, absolutely. And so that that is really our core customer. The female that shops for their family. So for her family. So the mom or the grandmother, whoever it is, would go into a co-op at that time, purchase the product and go, wow, I mean, they're building their fence or they're taking care of their cattle or, whatever it is. So they're using the product. Then whoever else lives in their household, which again, in that particular demographic, there are a lot of multi-generational households. So just like my great grandmother lived with my grandparents, and she was really into folk medicine. So a lot of the multi-generational households, it might be grandparents, parents, and grandchildren living in the same house. So that's kind of how it spread. there would be one tube in the household, and then other people would use it for different things, and it grew from there, which we never expected, but it's just the way it worked out, and we're glad that people like to share it and like to gift it. We do a lot, hear a lot around the holidays of, oh, I got this in my stocking or whatever, and now I don't know where to buy it. Because when people call, they're going to get me on the phone or someone else on our team. We have a very small team. We talk to everyone that calls, which is what I usually spend a lot of my spare time doing. I got a call on Christmas Eve. I got emails on Christmas Day. There's never really in a business like this, it's not a day off. You just do whatever you need to do to take care of your customer. So we hear a lot of that. And when people call and say, where can I buy this? I always ask, where did you get your first tube? Because if maybe that store still has it, or maybe they're out. And most of the time it was, oh, my neighbor brought it over when they realized, they saw that I had hurt my back, or they gave me a little bit of a tube and I don't even know where it came from. And hearing that over a decade has really blown my mind.
Yeah.
Because you think, well, we would need huge commercials or, to spread like that. But no, it's actually been our customer, and I've always viewed them and always will as the star of the brand. I get a lot of kickback from people. They'll email me and say, well, I never hear much about you, or, why don't you do a web shop, whatever it is. And I've always thought, like, you people are the ones that are making it work, and I like to tell your stories. So this is great for me. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this, and I'm having fun talking about it and telling the story. So kudos to you for kind of picking up on the fact that, autoimmune, as you're an expert in, conditions sometimes do relate back to consumer products and what you use on your body.
Yeah. And having something that is so natural is helpful. I mean, because just like you talked about your mother, I mean, I have fibromyalgia also, including rheumatoid arthritis and everything else. And I enjoy the way it smells. I used to have the problem like what your mom has with smelling certain things, like going into Bath and Body Works was just, I could not do it. And
she can't do it. Yeah.
And now, I mean, I can, but I'd rather have more of a natural smell, a clean smell, or something that is just not so toxic. And I found your product to be very calming. And I guess it's the lavender in there. I mean, I put it on before I go to bed. And it's not like menthol where, like we were talking about, you put on and you're just not stunned by it, but you do get I have Hashimoto's also, so I'm easily cold. So that menthol, I'm like, it feels good at first, but then you're cold the rest of the night.
Right, exactly. I'm glad you like it. I love the fact that you're a fan, and that, we're having an authentic conversation about it. It's not an advertisement. I mean, that's one reason why I'm careful about what we do and who we talk to, because I want to be sure it's real.
Yeah.
I think we've built the whole brand on authenticity. We're still a family-owned brand. Not just my family now, but obviously we've grown and taken on other families that want to be involved. So we just like to really keep it real and authentic, no matter what it is. And I love that. And I think that that's what people appreciate a lot about our brand, is that we're not flashy. We're not trying to be all things to all people, but for the group of people that it works for, which increasingly, especially now with our patch, we have some people that are like, I don't like a cream. So when we developed our patch, we actually added devil's claw into that. And you know that that's another good anti-inflammatory. And people have loved it. A lot of people say, oh, I love the devil's claw. Others say, I like the cream better. But we've offered some options for different pain relief, which I'm very thankful that we could do, because, you want people to have a choice and in how they manage their pain. Most of us, everyone has pain of some type at some time.
Yeah,
It may or may
that's
not
true.
be chronic, like yours and my mom's, but at some point you're going to. I have
Hmm.
kids on, college volleyball teams that use it and things that because it's grown, because that initial um, consumer brought it into the home. That's really how it's grown.
Yeah. What has been the most heartfelt testimony you've had from a customer?
You know, I've had a lot. And I think the one that stands out, and I've talked about this a couple of times before, I think online, um, just the fact that people reach out about such intimate situations. Though I had a lady reach out to me, it's been about a year ago. Her husband had bone cancer, and
Mm.
he had gotten, and she already used the willow balm just for arthritis. So it was around, and he developed I don't know exactly what the medical condition was, but I think just as he progressed, he couldn't take the opioids anymore. He couldn't take pain medication. It was making him worse instead of better, making him feel worse. And so she gave him the willow balm and said, "Well, let's try this." And it helped him. It didn't cure anything, but it helped him have a better day. It helped him while he was here. He's passed on now. But for her to take the time to call a company, and thank goodness she got me, and then now we've kept in touch in email, but kind of being a part of people's family story like that is just such an honor. And it's emotional, there's
It
an
is.
emotional connection to our brand when you hear things like that. So that one stands out just because it was so powerful
Hmm.
that someone could benefit from a natural cream even more than an opioid. And I realize it's not the situation for everyone. There's a place for, everything. But we hear that a lot of, I had a lady a couple of weeks ago actually call, and we had run out. We were kind of in a shortage. We were going through a rebrand and repackaging. And she said, "I can't do without this. I mean, this cream," I think she was calling from somewhere near Georgia. She said, "I have been able to cut down on my oral medication, and it was like an Advil or Tylenol. I think it was Advil." She said, "I still take it, but I only take it one time at night instead of 4 times a day. And my doctor said that's so good." And, I mean, again, it's almost every day that I hear that type of thing. So the one that just because that one sticks out, there have been thousands of others just this year alone that I've heard. And I just feel like it's great that people, they put the trust in our brand and in me to talk about that.
Yeah. And it sounds like you really love what you do because it's helping
I
so many
do.
people.
Yeah, absolutely. I never would have dreamed it, but I'm thankful that it is.
Yeah. And I know you talked about having different ingredients and different products. What is next for Nature's Willow?
Oh my gosh. We take a cue from our customers on everything. So when we talk to our customers, we have people suggest, "Oh, you need an oil. We'd like an oil formulation." Um, we would enjoy have athletes say like kind of the KT tape, which is a version of the patch. We've just developed a an extra large patch, and we learned that from our customers because we had a gentleman call, and then many other people we talked to after that that said, "Well, I'm larger and I'm having to use 2 patches on my back," so we developed an extra large patch. Right now, our bath soak, it's not a salt, but it's a soak. That's one of our best sellers because we have people that use it like as a foot soak and people that use it on the daily or, whenever they're in pain, kind of as a part of their pain management regimen. So I'm not sure what'll be next. We've got so many things floating around, but yet we also want to stay focused on what's working and just keep doing that and doing it well and really being there for our customers and expanding the locations so that more people can find us that
Yeah.
prefer to buy brick and mortar.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad that we had this conversation. And like you said, it was just authentic, just enjoying what is it that makes nature's willow. And it's the ingredients. It seems like it's the heart. You grew out of the love from your mom. You grew out of the people that really needed it, and you're still growing. And that's what's
Thank
important. And you're
you.
giving back to the community too.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed it, and I look forward to keeping in touch as we go along.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else you would like to share about your product? Or I know you also do an itch balm, and that's helped me. Well, actually, it's helped my husband because
Oh, good.
mosquitoes don't like me, but they love him. So he's put it on a few times.
Well, at the heart of our brand, we're pain relief, but we have gone a little bit to the left and gone into some itch relief products. And that came from an Amazon review from a customer that said, and this was maybe 2014. No, gosh. Yes, I think it was about 2014, 2013. A lady said, she had gotten like poison ivy or something. I think it was poison ivy or poison oak, and she didn't have anything, and so she used the willow balm on it, and she said, it helped. I think you could improve it to be better, but it
Mm.
actually helped. We had never thought about doing an itch relief product, and from that, then the more I talked to people, the more I was hearing things about, well, I need itch relief, or my granddaughter has eczema and I don't want to use whatever it is on her. So we have a bug bite balm that was developed in 2020. And especially during the pandemic, we were shocked that it skyrocketed because people were at home and they were outdoors and the kids were outside, and people were in nature because they weren't in a building or in a gym. And then from there we have an itch relief cream that's in a larger bottle. But yeah, so we do itch relief as well, and I don't give that as much attention, I think, probably as
Yeah.
I should. But the people that love it, we have a huge following for that. And in the summer, it's actually our top seller, the bug bite products and the itch relief. It's kind of like wintertime, people have a little more ache and pain going on. And then in the summertime, we have the bug bite and the itch relief. But year round, people love the cream, the patches, and now the bath soak. So who knows what'll be next? I love skincare. I'm a skincare freak, and at one time I did experiment with that because white willow bark is also an anti-aging um, compound. So who knows? That may or may not ever happen, but it's fun to think about and experiment with either way.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. And how can people find your product?
natureswillow.com. You can always purchase on our website. We are available on Amazon and in about 10,000 locations nationwide. If anyone has a store that they recommend, or a massage therapist or a chiropractor, reach out to me. You can always reach me through the website. Hello@natureswillow.com, I believe, but you can just click on that button and I will send them some samples and reach out to them and see if we may be a good fit. So thank you to everyone that has supported us and continues to share our brand. I really appreciate it. And thank you especially to you for your time today.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to keeping in touch with you, and good luck with all the future endeavors and products that you may experiment with.
Thank you so much. Take care.
You too. Thank you for listening, Autoimmune Warriors. I want you to be aware of 3 companies. 1, Aila Health. It is helpful for tracking your lifestyle to reduce flares, but it's more than a tracking app. Aila Health uses data to develop a personalized care plan that works for your life. So why not check it out? Number 2, Adapt Naturals by Chris Kresser. I'm excited to tell you about BioAvail Multi. It gives you the full spectrum of nutrients so you can thrive, like essential vitamins and phytonutrients. Go to adaptnaturals.com/des15 and use my code des15 to get 15% off your order. And the third company is LeapCure. Check out what they're doing. Until next time, be stronger than autoimmune. Guess who I just connected with, warriors? LeapCure. Leap what? LeapCure. LeapCure connects patients with clinical trials to make research more equitable, and efficient. Listen to their latest clinical trial.
If you've been diagnosed with thyroid eye disease and are seeking potential new treatment options, you might be interested in the LIDS clinical trial. If you're 18 and over, have a diagnosis of Graves' disease or Hashimoto's, and are interested in potentially participating in research, you can fill out a short questionnaire at lpcur.com/TED. You'll be connected with someone on the team to determine whether it might be a good fit for you. Check your eligibility and learn more at lpcur.com/TED.